with me. I want to go now to Ambassador Christopher Hill, joining me on the phone. He was the Assistant Secretary of State for East Asia and Pacific Affairs under President George W. Bush. Ambassador Hill, when you heard this, what was your reaction? Should Trump have had this conversation with the President of Taiwan?
Well, obviously, he should not have. We have had for 40 years rather clear policies of how to implement the One China policy. 8 years during the Reagan administration, this never happened. 4 years during the Bush Senior administration, this never happened. 8 years of Clinton, 8 years of George W. Bush, and 8 years of Obama. So this is a real break. Obviously, it was an example of what is all too often happening now with this incoming administration, this tendency to wing it. What I'm concerned about is that rather than acknowledge a mistake, they will double down on it, say that this is indeed an effort to change some of the terms of our One China policy. And that's a huge mistake. We have a lot of stuff going on with China. We've got South China Sea, we've got North Korea. We don't need this right now.
And Ambassador, you know, to your point about them doubling down, this was not a mistake. I mean, we know a pro-Taiwan advisor of Trump's team who worked closely with Dick Cheney facilitated this phone call, right? It was purposeful. We know no one in the Trump camp consulted the White House or the State Department before the phone call was made. Was it done on purpose in secret?
Well, I do know the individual you're talking about, Steve Yates. He worked for Dick Cheney, and he worked on Taiwan, and he, you know, beavered away with really a concept that there was no such thing as the People's Republic of China. Well, there is, and this shouldn't have been done. And whether it was Steve Yates trying to organize this, there should have been someone in the transition, perhaps the National Security Advisor, say, wait a minute, let's think this through. And clearly, there's just too much of this kind of winging it and this kind of deinstitutionalization that's going on. That is, why ask the State Department? Why ask the National Security Council staff? Why not just go ahead because it feels right? And this is not going to be the last of these kinds of things. So things need to get cleaned up and cleaned up in a hurry in Washington.
Ambassador Hill, thank you very much for your time.